Well, hey everybody.
Hey, you guys.
We are Doug and Stacy Getzinger, or really I should say Stacy and Doug Getzinger,
Uh,
because this is our first outreach, our first platform, our first opportunity to do something on YouTube. And
that's right.
together we are Speak Out Loud. And Stacy's organization that she has created over the last several years is called Speak Out Loud. And we are really excited to be adding the Speak Out Loud resources, our ministry, our platform to YouTube.
Hmm.
And so we have not been on YouTube before, and we are launching our YouTube channel. We have a podcast that we've created lots of content for, lots of other things we're going to share with you about today. So
Hmm.
today we really are just wanting to jump on here for a few minutes and give you a brief welcome introduction and to let you know that we're launching our Speak Out Loud YouTube channel this evening. So we are
So,
so excited to get to do that.
yeah, and it does feel kind of weird because usually when we talk and everything, I'm like, okay, that's okay to say that because Doug can just edit it out. But that's not the case when the way we're doing YouTube because we want to avoid editing. So, yeah, with me having mental illness and struggling with it for so many years, I do get a little nervous about this because sometimes I can say something that I'm just like, am I sure I wanted to put it that way? But we're just going unplugged here. We're just going unhinged. We're just going to try. We're just going to try this.
That's right. And so what Stacy mentioned, she really introduces the topic and the focus of Speak Out Loud. So if you see our channel, we've put some information on there about what Speak Out Loud is, what our purpose is, but the heart and the mission of Speak Out Loud is to share hope and
Mm-hmm.
encouragement for those
Mm-hmm.
who struggle with mental illness, who struggle with mental health, and for those who love and support them. And that's our mission. That's our story. That's our
Mm-hmm.
lives. So as we're going to share just a little bit more detail in a minute, so Stacy's had a lengthy battle for many, many years with several different mental illness diagnoses, and we've been married for 32 years now. We have two adult children, and we live in the Oklahoma City area, but our platform has really reached beyond certainly Oklahoma, even nationwide, worldwide to some level.
Mm-hmm.
And we are really excited to get to bring more of this content to you. And so, what are some of those things that we offer? So, maybe if you're new to us, you would not know this, but we have for the last several years now had the Speak Out Loud podcast,
Yep.
which is available on most podcast platforms. We are now going to be gradually adding past content from that
Mm-hmm.
onto this YouTube platform, onto our Speak Out Loud page. So if you're primarily a YouTube user and that's how you access content, you'll be maybe for the first time getting to see some of that. But we have really a library over several years of not just the two of us sharing and talking, but also diving in, engaging with, interviewing a number of mental health professionals, others that walk this road, this journey. And so we are going to be really excited to get to share some of that with you. So that's one thing we've had and we're going to be offering. And we'll let Stacy share about this, but Stacy is also the author of two books.
Mm-hmm.
And that is another way that we are sharing hope and encouragement. And we want to share that with you so you know how to find those.
So, about 10 and a half years ago, I had started blogging and I was really loving that way of it was just a great outlet for me. I have always done a lot of journaling, but this way I felt like, okay, I'm sending it out into the world when I blog. And at least I don't feel so alone in my journey because I am sharing it with who knows who. And so shortly after I needed to go to inpatient treatment for anorexia. I was supposed to be there for 6 weeks total, and I ended up being in ICU for 7 weeks before I could even start the program. Oddly, when I was in the program and treatment and in the hospital and everything, I didn't feel like writing. It was almost like too much for me, even though it had always been an outlet for me. And so they would bring me my computer and be like, Stacy, maybe this will help you kind of process what's going on. And I tried, and it was just so much, so hard, like it had never been. So when I got home from treatment, 5 months later, I decided, and Doug and I talked about, why don't we put these blogs into a book? And I continued to write blogs, like many more. And so my first book is called You Are Worth Saving, and it's letters of hope from a desperate heart. And it's something that my friend Debbie Wallace said to me. She'll appreciate me saying her full name. Um, excuse me. It's something that Debbie told me before when I was trying to decide if I was going to go inpatient or not. And I had always cared so much about other people. Okay, something you have to know about Doug and I, just a second, is we drink Diet Coke like no one else.
We
So
are. We are definitely hooked on the Diet Coke.
I
for
needed
sure.
to do that because I had a tickle in my throat. But anyway, she told me that, and I was just like, when I got home and I wrote until we had the completion of the 30 letters, I was like, you know what? This is the perfect title. What Debbie told me was, Stacy, you are worth saving. And so that was the first one. And it's just been such a neat gift that I've been able to be a part of. I've loved every minute of it. It's very raw. And the reason why I say that is because those of you who may suffer from mental illness, you deserve to be able to be met where you are. And so I can candy coat it, but what good is that? It's not true. It's not reality. And then also, I write so that way people will know how to support people like me. And so both of those things are involved in both books. The letters are always laced with hope and God, and they are my truth, my reality. So then the second one, about 6 years later, I was just hit with, we'd all made it through COVID and everything, and I was just hit with the realization of, I only touched on some things in that first book, and that's fine. But now I would like to go a little deeper still. And so the next book I wrote was called The Boat That Wouldn't Sink. And that's a memoir. It's brief. I feel like people who read what I write are looking for answers and hope and encouragement. They aren't looking to read a big novel. They're desperate. They're hurting. And they may even be looking for answers to questions that, have been so difficult for them to be able to ask somebody, if at all. So anyway, The Boat That Couldn't Sink is just a precious book to me, and it just went out in September of 2024. So we've just finished promoting that all over the place, and it's already been a real joy to have out there.
Well, and that book is born, if you get a copy of it, you'll see this, out of a picture that hung in Stacy's home when she was a child. And it was really descriptive, I think, of what the snapshot of the book is this. It describes Stacy's life and it being shaped by trauma, really plagued into adulthood by mental illness, but now rescued by hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the story of that. That's the message of that book. And that's really the message of Speak Out Loud. And so several other things that we have had a chance to help create, some content that we've made available, a free piece of content that's available. If you're familiar with the YouVersion Bible app, it's a prevalent app all over the world. We were able to provide a Bible reading plan. If you go on that app, they have both access to the Bible, but also a wide variety of devotional content called Bible reading plans. And we were able to, through that, to share 5 days, a 5-day devotional series, which shares both scriptures, Bible passages, which have really been meaningful to us, and highlight how God has carried us through these last 30 years. And also then co-write and each take turns writing some of the devotional content. So that reading plan is simply titled Hope for Those Struggling with Mental Health. You can get on there, search for that. I actually showed it to somebody the other day. They searched for it, they found it, and it's just some great content that we really think can bring hope and encouragement to you. And it's born out of this. It's born out of really our story, which is Stacy and I both, her perspective and my perspective, able to share both from the one that has really fought this battle.
Yeah.
And for me, that as I've been married to Stacy for many years and we've led our family and now we have young adult children, that we, how I've learned to support her. And I would say this, you'll hear us say this a lot, any lessons we have to share, most of the time we've learned the hard way because we did it wrong. Yeah. We had to learn, we had to go through this. And that really, Stacy, is I think why, and part of our motivation for creating Speak Out Loud. It's to look back and to try to provide some resources that we didn't have, either we didn't have or we didn't know were available for a wide variety of reasons. And can we provide something like that now out of our journey, out of our story? And that's is also really important if you're new to Speak Out Loud, is that we're still on this journey.
Yeah.
We
speak out of the middle.
That's right.
100%.
This is
So,
not something that we have completed and we're now saying, oh, this is the lessons we learn. Stacy, we both are still in the thick of this. And Stacy
mhm,
often shares and writes about her ongoing recovery, her ongoing treatment. And through that, though, we really believe that we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait to share
mhm,
about the hope we experience, the goodness of God, and what He's carrying us through, and what He's brought us through, and where He's taking us, and His just providing for us through that. And so that's really part of our mission. It's at the heart of Speak Out Loud. But Stacy, why don't you share? Let's just dive in a little bit for
mhm.
those that don't know our story, and just tell
Right.
a little bit about kind of where that's come from, where we are now, and where we're headed. And this, you're going to get so much of this content if you follow this page. So we're not going to do the whole thing would take hours. So we're just going to give you a little bit of a snapshot of that now. And I know you'll be able to learn more along the way as we have a chance to share with you.
Yeah. So, I have struggled for many years with several diagnoses, and one being anorexia. And that's been something that started pretty young for me. It kind of manifests itself when I was in college, and I just thought this will go away because a lot of college girls were struggling, and it didn't. Anytime that there is stress or things that are just so overwhelming to me, that's when the anorexia really shows up and really gets ugly for me. Some people, and this is fine too, some people, when they are stressed, they get hungry. They're just like trying to fill that void with eating. And for me, it's opposite. I just can't even imagine really in those moments eating because I'm so upset. My insides are just in turmoil. So anyway, that has been an ongoing issue, and that's why I referred to going away for treatment was for anorexia, and that really helped save my life. Before I didn't have tools, and then when I got home, I did, and it's just been 10 years of trying to implement those and realizing that I don't have to be abusive to myself because recovery doesn't have to be linear. And it's not. It's just not. So then the next one, so fun. Here's our little list. But the next one is borderline personality disorder. And that's kind of been talked about a little more recent than it has with any type of longevity. It doesn't mean it's a new illness. It's just people are going, oh, that's the problem, especially relationally with relationships and different things like that. Now, I fit some of the criteria for that, and then some I don't at all. And so we've got to just give ourselves grace on not just labeling and putting a big
That's
blanket
right.
over what we have. So then, of course, I have struggled so much with deep, deep depression. And for a long time, I was just like, maybe it's going to be seasonal. Maybe when this happens, I'll calm down and my system will calm down and I will be able to just find the happiness and the joy on my own. And while I do experience a lot of joy because of who we serve, God, and in our family and in our friends and in Speak Out Loud, all the things, it's been a very, very difficult journey for me with depression. Then anxiety. Anxiety is almost a taboo word, for a long time. And now it's just like exploded. So, and then finally, as an adult, I started when I was a little kid, but as an adult, I've really struggled with self harm. And a lot of people, if you're listening, might be saying, you know what, that's a junior high illness. That's something that kids do to get attention. And again, that's why we've come on to YouTube, is we want to be a part of educating you with our experience. I am not a certified counselor, LPC. Doug is not either. Our understanding and knowledge has come from a great amount of treatment, counseling and nutritionists, but we will have those guests on with us, but we just know our story. So please, we don't want to overqualify ourselves, but we do want to share from what we have experienced time and time again, that
Yeah.
you could further research and get to know. But yes, self-harm has been a very big part of my adulthood, just self-punishment.
And I think I appreciate you saying that, Stacy. And that was something we always try to communicate, especially to new audiences, is
Mm-hmm.
that we are not licensed therapists. We're not medical professionals, But we do feel this. We do feel like we have walked this road long enough that we are experts in our story.
Mhm.
And I think as you get to know us, and particularly as you get to know Stacy and hear her, one of the things that I'm just constantly amazed by is Stacy's both transparency, but also her authenticity. And I think her ability to communicate what she's dealing with, what she has wrestled with, what she's currently wrestling with, and the challenges that brings, but also really talk about that in some authentic ways, to talk about, here's where we are, here's what we're doing, and not get outside of our story and our experience. But in doing so, we do strive to bring in. We have done this frequently on our podcast. When you hear this, is bring in mental health professionals,
Right.
doctors that we can engage with to also help bring both our experience and our story, but also that professional guidance and wisdom
Mhm.
also. And so one of the things we often say is that Speak Out Loud, our mission, sharing hope for those that struggle and for those who love and support them. We
Mhm.
can do that because that's been our walk. That's been our journey. So from my perspective, I know as Stacy shares that, um, for so many years, early in our marriage, particularly, I think I realized I, my view of mental illness and mental health was really shaped by some things in my childhood where from a family dynamic, it was very much just a message of, hey, we don't talk about it.
Mhm.
And a lot of people in a certain generation, that probably was a similar situation. If there's an issue, we kind of cover it up. We don't try to bring it to the forefront. And so I brought that into our marriage, and we didn't we really didn't had no idea what we were dealing with. Had no idea the depth of what Stacy was dealing with.
Not at all.
For many, many years, we didn't have the resources to deal with that, both materially, just financially, to seek out therapy, to seek out
Mhm.
counseling. But I can also say for me, a big battle I've had to fight is a battle of denial. And one of the things that I heard that really I think also helps describe our situation
Mhm.
is that um, there was a moment in time, really a mental health crisis that Stacy experienced a number of years ago. That I think, in hindsight, it was kind of many years of a slide. We came to the cliff and we fell off the cliff. So it wasn't sudden, but for some reason, it certainly felt just out of nowhere and like a bomb has gone off in our family. And we
Mhm.
are shell shocked and we're just stunned and we're trying to figure out. And I can still remember to this day, Stacy looking to me in desperation of, we don't know what to do. She was in such deep mental and emotional pain, trying to get some relief, trying to get some help out of that. And I've described it this way. It was like I was watching my wife drown. I'm standing on the beach, she's out in the water, and I'm watching her struggle, and I do not have a life preserver to throw to her, and I did not know how to swim in those waters, in these mental health waters. And so that's really how we dove into this together. And what for many years, maybe to some respects, Stacy and I, we had felt like, okay, we're keeping, this under the table. We're keeping our wraps on this. But when those tables turned so quickly on us and we were in desperation, we were in crisis, that out of that, we made some wrong steps, we made some right steps, but we've learned a lot of lessons. And through
Mhm.
that, and now walking that journey out for many, many years now, we just feel like there's a lot of things that out of that experience that we can share that possibly really could have helped us, could have helped me, those years ago when we entered those crisis moments. And you're going to hear us talk a lot about resilience. Stacy's already talked about it. Recovery is not linear. It's very up and down, and not being discouraged by that. But truthfully, um, we want to share just what that's looked like for both of us, and for many, many years, and often, I've had to walk that fine line of what's denial and what's hope. And hope has been extremely important in our story. And carrying hope for our family has
Mhm.
been, and for Stacy many times, has been um, a role I've had to play. But I've also had to learn that hope all by itself is, my denial, my procrastination was not really hope. It was just wishing a problem would get better. Hope has come as we have sought help, as we have found a strategy, as Stacy has really just stuck through in a really gritty sort of way, the recovery process. And so those are all different things that we feel like, one, we want to share, we can share. It's been a part of our platform these last several years. And now we're really excited to get to bring that and bring it to the YouTube platform. So those are some of the things you're going to hear. Some of the things that we're really excited to get to share. We're going to be sharing some past podcast content and letting you hear that. Now that's actually going to be an audio form and not video form. Moving ahead to future podcast content, we're really excited to get to share. Let me encourage you to do this. Let me encourage you to follow Speak Out Loud on both Instagram and Facebook. And some of that content's now going to be making its way over to YouTube also. So YouTube will be a place you can also find that. But Stacy, through our social media partners, really is consistently producing, just whether it's from things she's past done, currently doing, just some hopeful things, just daily shots of hope that we know you need, that we need, and that hopefully will really help encourage you, especially if you're walking this mental health journey and road with us. So those are some things we're really looking forward to providing and looking ahead to doing. And we're excited to get to bring this to YouTube.
Yeah, so everything we do is under the title of Speak Out Loud, speakoutloud.me, more specifically for socials and everything, so that it's not confusing on what do I need to remember this is under and that it's under. It's all Speak Out Loud, and we're, again, Doug and Stacy Getzinger. And
before you get, let me say this, that's also our website.
That's also our website.
Speakoutloud.me. So if you want to find us online, check us out there. You can learn about us, learn about even other ways to connect. Stacy particularly, but both of us speak to audiences frequently. And if that's something we could be of service with to a group you represent, we'd love to do that as well, or have Stacy do that. So speakoutloud.me is a great way to learn more about us and Speak Out Loud.
Absolutely. So we wanted to keep that just very across the board for you. I know you have busy lives and everything, but what our desire is to speak into that busy life and help bring some of the chaos levels down a little bit. I know for me, I need that reminder. I live with this screaming loud mind, and I just try really hard not to give into it. And I want to challenge you to do the same. So before we let you guys go, though, I just wanted to say, for those of you who are listening and watching, if you are in a really bad situation right now, I just know that sometimes I felt like I could barely take one step and then the next in my journey. And sometimes those steps have maybe looked more like a shuffle, but I just want to ask you to keep walking with me in this and just let me be a new person to help you not feel so isolated and alone in it. Like I want to remind you, I am not a professional, but I do know that all my life I've suffered in different ways with these things, and some all at the same time. And because of God and because of tools and because of me showing up at appointments, taking my medication, and we'll get more into that another time. But I still have the privilege of being here. And so anyway, I just want to encourage you to keep taking one step and then the next, even if they look like a shuffle. They so count.
That's right. You're going to hear us say, you're going to hear Stacy say this a lot. Something we live by is it's do the next right thing. Whatever that looks like, do the next right thing. And that has kept Stacy pressing ahead. It's kept us pressing ahead, even in some of the darkest moments and some of the most difficult moments of this journey.
Yeah, so if you'll tell people about us,
Yep.
You are a great advertisement for us, because we have a solid following, but we want to stretch that and grow that. Why? Not for a numbers game, but because we know mental illness is rampant. And so please don't wait to start sharing about what we talk about and letting people know about us until something tragic happens. Go ahead and get a jump start on that, and just spread the word about Speak Out Loud. Yeah, that would be an honor for us to know that you're doing that.
That's right. we're so excited to get to share more and more with you on YouTube.
Mhm.
And we're looking forward to all this platform allows us to do and
Mhm.
allows us to offer. And folks, let's just experience hope together.
That's right.
So God bless you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thanks, y'all.